Welcome to the Depressy podcast.
I'm Missy.
And I'm Allie.
And we're sisters
in the mental health field,
talking about all things stressy
and depressy. Okay, disclaimer.
We're not real.
Advice.
We're not professionals yet.
We're not. We don't claim to be. We're just two girlies chatting about mental health.
Yeah.
Don't take it too seriously.
Okay, big week. Can't even wait 2 seconds before I launch into that.
I was saying to Missy, I would be rolling around on the floor like a little cockroach if I were her.
That's almost my state. I mean, so for context, just to launch right in, we're recording this a few days before my match day. By the time this is released, and actually I was thinking even by the time I am editing this episode, I'll know. So this is a little time capsule for myself in a few days when I'm like, my God, I didn't know yet.
It's Friday.
Yeah.
What time?
Well, they say that the email comes between 8 and 9, but I've heard through the grapevine that in past years it's come as early as 5 a.m. So
That's terrifying.
And then it's on the website, it officially pops up at 9, but you do get an email at some point that morning. Anyway, just trying to put one foot in front of the other. And
everyone's asking me are you excited for your wedding? I'm like, I'm ill over match. That's the only thing I can think of. I guess I'm excited, but also cannot relate to Allie post-match. Don't know her, don't know Allie at her wedding, never heard of her. Who is she? This reminds me of how I felt before applying to residency, that it literally made me ill. The illness is coming back.
Yeah, I can relate. It's to the point where I actually yesterday, I kind of messed up and it was totally fine. Shout out to my amazing advisor. But we are going on a trip next week. I'm going to be working remotely from somewhere else, from San Francisco, I'll just say, because Jacob has a work trip out there. And I had not told my advisor because in my head, this was so far in the future. I was like, I will be a different woman. I will not. I know. I was like, hi, I'm so sorry. By the way, I'm going to be working remotely next week. I hope that's okay. And I'm at the point where my work where I pretty much can operate remotely. It's most of my work is pretty independent and I come in just to be present for a few meetings, but it's really not necessary at this point in my training, which is I could be a little more flexible. But she was very okay with it. She was like, that will be so nice after match, and I'm glad you'll have something to look forward to. But I was like, oh my God, because in my head it was just so far. I was like, that will be, who is she? I don't know her. That's so far away. And it's literally now. It's next week.
It's weird that I went through the application process before you, but then you're going before me for this.
Yeah, because everything else was earlier.
I'm not jealous at all. I know you're the kind of person who just wants it to be over with. I want to get as far away from it as possible because I'm associating so many negative feelings of what if I don't match? What if I don't match where I am, where I want to be? It's very hard. I'm really trying to practice radical acceptance and all the things we've talked about uncertainty. But it is harder and harder as the date comes closer. I'm still under a month away, or over a month away. So yeah, but we realized that I'm gonna find out if I match or not this Sunday of my bachelorette trip.
Wait, it's on a Sunday? I thought it was Monday.
The Sunday, I think.
I thought it was the Monday
15th?
and then Friday. Oh, I think the 15th is Sunday. My gosh. Okay. Do you know what time that comes for you?
Yeah, the 15th. I think it's noon, but we'll see.
Okay. I'll still be there. I think many people may have left.
All my girls though, truly all my girls. So yeah. I'm I'll be surrounded by people who can lift me up or celebrate with me. So yeah, we shall see. That'll be for you how I was at your bridal shower this weekend being oh my God, it's match week. I know, we were saying that just these bridal showers are around big things in our professional lives. At your bridal shower, it was the day before or 2 days before I took my step 1 exam, which oh my gosh was the biggest thing in my life at that point in time. I'm It's so interesting because, like, that seems so big and scary at the time. And now that I'm far away, I'm like, I obviously was going to pass. But at the time, it did not feel like that at all.
It's really hard to know how, like, I'm just picturing myself, like, editing this episode on Friday. And I don't even know what state of mind I'm going to be in.
Missy, do you want match day present from me?
Sure.
I'll edit the episode. Love, sisterly love.
Okay. Pinky promise.
I pinky promise.
That would be really nice, actually. Because, I mean...
And I'll make the reels.
Wow. That would actually be really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my job anyway. I just, like...
Don't generally do it. But
I have a busy life. I have to play Animal Crossing, write thank you notes. I have been babysitting a ton.
You have. I think no matter what on Friday, I'm probably going to be feeling some strong emotion or emotions that make it difficult to work.
I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this.
I know.
This is so crazy.
And then I stop and think, and I really tried to get down to it of, like, what am I really nervous about? Like, I actually am, there's a lot, if I really make myself think about the different programs, even going pretty far down on my list, I can get myself excited about these different programs, and I have no real doubts that, like, I will be fine. Like, I'm a strong girl. I can get through it. Even at ones where I'm like, there would be some genuine cons, like, I put it on my rank list for a reason, you know, like, it's going to be fine. I think really the main thing that's eating at me is the curiosity. Like, I just want to know. I just want to know so badly. It's like curiosity killed the cat. That's how I feel. I have
a question for you. When randos ask you your number one, do you tell them? Like, let's say, like, me too.
Yeah, I do.
Been.
Yeah.
Which is, like, something I feel like different than I've been. Almost because I was, like, taught to be different. Like, and, like, kind of, like, guard things close to your chest. But now I'm like, who cares? I mean, it is, I would say, harder as I get to the date where I'm like, man, like, people are gonna know.
I do. It is, like, the impending shame that, like, statistically I'm not gonna match at my number one. And I'm trying to really, like, I think no matter if I don't, which I probably won't, I'll feel some disappointment around it, and I'll probably feel the shame that, like, other people know, because I've told anyone who's asked me in my personal life what my number one is, like, of like I didn't, but I do it now, like, especially as people ask me, I'll be like, listen, it's a lot of people's number one. Like, the place that's my number one is like a top choice for many people. And I felt like my interview went well, but I'm sure they interviewed many applicants. I'm sure that many other people had a good interview, and there's only a few slots. So, you know, it's just tricky.
It's so tough. It's interesting, but it got me thinking about, like, people asking more personal questions. And whether or not you're, like, open to that. I saw this thing on TikTok where this girl was saying, like, don't ask people what they, like, if they're pregnant, like, what they're gonna name their baby, or if they have baby names, because that's, like, a super personal question. And I do get that is personal. Like, the way I usually ask, because I'm just a girl who loves baby names and loves talking about names. Like, I've dreamed about what my babies are going to be named. I've had lists, like, talk about it with my friends. Yeah. So when someone's pregnant, especially if they're having a girl, I'm like, oh my gosh, are you sharing names? Like, do you know what you're naming little one yet? Like, oh, that's so exciting. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, these are names I love. Like, if they say they don't know, just not even because I think they're going to use them, because I'm like, literally just genuinely, this is something I love to talk about. I'll be like, you know, I love this name, but, like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to hear what you choose or something. But I don't press them on telling me. I'm never like, well, please, like, whatever. What's your front runner? What are you guys deciding between? Are there any names that, like, what are you, like, whatever. But I heard this girl on TikTok was like, oh my gosh, like, it's such a personal question. I can't believe people ask that. Which now I do feel like, okay, that gave me a little bit of a different perspective about it.
Yeah.
But I would say the equivalent to that with weddings is when people ask to see my wedding dress.
Yes. And you're like, do you show people or no?
It really depends. I think in the beginning I was more guarded with it. And what I will say is I very much want to wait to show people at the wedding. Like, if you're coming to the wedding, I would prefer to show you at the wedding. However, if it is going to, if you are at the wedding and you want to see it, like a lot of my bridesmaids and like a lot of my bridesmaids, like I just want to show because we're like talking about it.
Yeah, yeah.
I am not gonna, I've decided, and this was like annoying to some people, that I don't want to send the photo. I want to like be there with them to show the photo.
See their reaction.
I know.
Totally.
I know we know someone who won't share news unless they're like in person, and like I relate to that.
Yes, yes.
And girl, I get it, because I will say like it's such a special thing to me that if you're not going to see me in the dress and I don't get that reaction like face to face, I at least want to like have that reaction and like have that moment together where we're both looking at it and talking about like not just like over text. But I know a couple of people are like, really, you're not sending it? But yeah, I know.
Honestly,
like,
I think that's super fair, because sometimes like if you have a photo on your phone, it'll come up as like a preview. Like that happens to me with your dress. I think because I took so many angles and like probably went back and like revisited it. I haven't even showed Jacob. Like anytime it comes up as a preview, I'm like quickly switching the view, and I'm like, "Did you see that?" Because you can't see all these before.
No,
but if you send it to other people, they might not be as like.
It's really hard because I don't want to be rude as well. Also, the other thing is like I love showing people that aren't going to be at my wedding. Like I have no problem with that. I have zero problem. Like the mom of I'm babysit this one family a lot, and we're talking about the wedding, and I was saying I was going to get my dress fitting, and I was like, oh, do you want to see it? She was like, oh my gosh, yes. I didn't want to ask. I'm like, girl, I don't care. Like I'm like, here's the dress. Like,
yeah.
You're gonna see a photo of me in it then or after the wedding. Like I don't care. Like it's gonna be a photo no matter what. I still don't know if I'd like send it. I don't know, but like I love like the joy of just like showing people. And again, I think it's like the baby names where like a lot of girls, generalizing here, want to talk about baby names, and a lot of girls want to talk about like wedding dresses and what they look like. So like if you are showing it to them, it's just something fun. But I do find like honestly strangers are more nervous to ask me about my dress than like people in my life, which kind of makes sense. But I'm like, it's the opposite, because I more want to show the dress to strangers, and people in my life, when they ask, like, especially when it's like on Lucas's side of the family, I don't want to be rude, because, you know, it's like not my family. I can't as much be like, oh, you'll have to wait. Like if it's my family, I'm like, oh, no, I'm not showing it.
Yeah. Right. They have to love you.
But if it's Lucas's side of the family, like, you know, you're kind of like balancing it. I think honestly something I regret, but like is not a big deal, is I think, and this is again like no shade to Lucas's mom, like she was just so excited for me when I got her dress, but she was like, can I see it? Like so excited. And I was like, okay. Like I didn't want to say no, so I showed her, but like I'm like, that's like such a special moment. Like I wish it was just like me in the dress, like in real life.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Like I think no matter what, it's just like Lucas and I are doing a first look, and I still think that the walk down the aisle is going to be very special. So like again, just seeing a photo again is going to be very different than in person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think our aunt Sue, is coming with me to a dress fitting, and she did not want to see a photo beforehand, which I was super thankful that she just wanted to come and see it like for the first time on me. I feel like that's going to be very special. But yeah, I do think it's a personal question that people ask, and I don't think I would realize that it's a personal question beforehand.
Totally.
Yeah. I think my advice to people, and maybe this is just like in general life advice, take it or leave it, is just like, are you sharing photos? Like, don't even ask, can I see it? Like, are you sharing photos of your dress? Like, and then you could be like, oh no, I'm saving it. It kind of gives them an out.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
a way that I appreciate asking the question. But I feel like you could take that to a lot. Like, or are you sharing your first choice? Like for residency?
I like people. Some people have asked me, do you have a top choice? Which of course you have to if like you're ranking, right? But even phrasing it in that way allows you to be like, I'm still torn or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But no, I'm just curious.
If I share. I have been sharing, and it's kind of an exposure for myself to be like, again, statistically, there will probably be shame on the other end of like probably not matching my top choice, and now all these different people in my life know, and I think that's okay. So what? I'll match somewhere that I'm proud of. Hopefully, probably, if it's on my list, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, who knows what headspace I'll be in, but I like once I actually get the result, and I think, again, realistically, I will be disappointed if it's anything, like, there'll be some level of disappointment with anything but number one, if I'm just being honest. But I actually could be very excited about many other options. It's just that my number one to me is like checked every single box, and
yes,
other
I'm
ones check most of the
boxes,
or have another cool
about my number one.
I know. There's like not really many bad things about my number one, but I was like, there's things about other options that I'm trying to kind of think about as like pros that the top choice doesn't have, to be like, I could learn this new technique, or I could like, I really enjoy, something that is like so particular could be like, add a few of mine even pretty low down on my list. And sometimes I ranked this way for like just logistical reasons, like location or things like that. Even at places that are actually pretty far down, there were people I really connected with and was like, I'd actually love to have this person as my supervisor. It just like, the location or other aspects of the program just like weren't it. So I put them, even again, pretty far down in some cases on my list. But like, if I really did match here, I would actually love having this person in my life as like a mentor and supervisor. So even thinking about things like that is helpful, to be like, I'd get this added bonus that this person would be there, or this specific learning opportunity, or, and again, maybe on Friday I'll be like, F that. But
no,
like, I don't know. Like, I think I will maybe have a point where I'm just like, no,
Literally.
This is I'm gonna have to wallow a little bit if it's not number one. But I think, I don't know.
Would you say that's your stressy depressy of the week?
I'm gonna say that whole little thing is my stressy depressy.
Okay.
And I think that kind of segues into our topic, but I'll put a pin in it.
I didn't say mine.
I know, I was gonna say, I'm putting a pin in it so you can say yours.
I literally can never come up with just one. To be fair, my life is very good right now. I'm chilling.
I was about to say, what could you be stressed or depressed about right now?
I am not depressed about this. I don't even know if I'm stressed about this. But I had my bridal shower, and it's kind of, I don't know if people can relate to this. I felt the same way after my engagement, where like we had a little engagement party afterwards, and I realized like how much everyone did for me, and like feeling like guilty about all of it. And I am someone who loves attention. So like in the moment, it's like everything I want, and I try to do the same for other people. But like after these things happen, I'm always like, wait, this person like gave a lot, or I don't even mean like financially. I mean like they gave a lot, like emotionally,
time,
or they
energy,
did a lot. They give time. They did this, and like I feel like that I don't deserve it in some ways, or like that, not in like any type. I'm like, what did I do? Like, this is crazy. They shouldn't have done this for me. Like, how, like, I feel so bad that like this person had to travel from so far, or like, went through all this lengths to do this for me. Like, I need to be a better person. I need to treat this person better. Like, not that I'm ever treating them bad, but I like feel like this like weirdness. And it's not even that deep. I'm not like losing sleep about it. I'm not like feeling like a bad like, it's not like really affecting my self-esteem. It's just like, it's hard to like accept it. And in some ways it really just is this like uniquely overwhelming events in your life. Like, this is not something that comes up often, except for these, I'm just in a season of life where like I'm having these events, and people are really coming out of the woodworks for me and doing all these amazing things. And I'm like, wait, what did I do to deserve this? Like, this is too much. So yeah, I would say then the other one, I kind of was just complaining to Missy about this. This is the actual more stressy depressy. I would say everything with wedding planning for the most part is like going pretty smoothly. But sometimes I tell people this is what we're gonna do, or this is what's gonna happen. Like, I've sat there, thought about it. There's some problem, let's say, that I need to come up with a solution for. Like, I don't know, timing, how people are getting places, where they're gonna go, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm sharing with this person. I pose it almost like a question just to be polite. But I'm like, hey, do you mind if blah, 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 blah? And they have pushback for reasons, almost acting like I haven't considered all of these other things. And I'm like,
right,
no, like there's no perfect solution. Like, actually I can come back and like fight them like really easily on this, being like, no, because this person's gonna be here and this person, like, remember, and like it takes this amount of time for this, and like I already thought of that, however, blah 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 blah. And I feel like I'm like, I need to at this point, like I feel like I'm like putting in so much of like the mental energy doing this, and then people come in who's put zero mental energy into this and just like immediately having a reaction to what I'm saying. And I'm like, I am not throwing like darts and just like seeing where they land. Like I am critically thinking about like these problems that are arising, or like what things need to happen, and just like people coming out of the woodworks being like, well, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, it's no longer a question.
Have
I'm
you
just
spent
telling
weeks
you.
and days like thinking this through and
I'm
trying to solve every piece of this puzzle?
That this is what needs to happen, because like I actually spent all morning trying to figure this out, and like this is the only solution. Like that makes sense. So genuinely, I think my new resolution is going to be to just start telling people things instead of asking them, because it's gotten to the point where I'm like, I'm done being nice.
That's
I was saying
this is my life all the time.
I was saying this is Missy, because she's like thought through the whole schedule of everything, thought through logistics always. So like then I'll come in and be like, but I don't wanna.
And I'm like,
well, that's okay, but I'm just flagging
I did think about this and this. Like, literally just today, like, I'll share, like, a benign example. Like, my husband and I were, like, thinking about travel plans for something. And there was, like, some scheduling thing that kind of threw a wrench in our kind of, like, pretty calculated plans. And I was like, okay, well, that's tough because, like, you know, we could either then leave like super early in the morning or late at night. And he was like, I know it's tough, but like, this is the way that it is. And I was like, and just flagging, it may, you know, end up that we have to come back like later in the evening. And I was like, that's fine. But like, we know we normally do laundry the following night, but like we have a plan the following night. So like, we're going to have to maybe do laundry like once we get in late on Sunday, and like all these things, like I'm already thinking ahead. And he's like, I have not gone there. Like, sorry. We
like
just
try to keep up, because I'm already
exactly.
10 steps ahead.
Exactly.
Like,
You know, we always joke that he'll be like, I got 2 steps ahead, and I'm like, I'm 10 steps ahead. Like, you cannot. I can't. Like, he'll
that's
be like,
how I feel
and
with the
it'll
wedding.
People
I
are
also
doing
know
very
the
nice
list
things.
front and back. Like at this point, like you could tell me anyone on the list, and I'll be like, likelihood of coming, who they should sit with, blah 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 blah, who they're friends with, what their political association is. Like literally, I'm like, I'm ready to go. And so when someone's like, this person needs to do this, I'm like, no, actually, because blah 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 blah. Like I start like literally like having a whole dynamic. I'm like, wow, do you really want that person sitting with their parents, because blah 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 blah, and that person at that table is actually Republican and they're super liberal, so we don't want, like, I'm literally like ready to go. And they're like, yeah, I guess they can sit there. I'm like,
right. You're like, is the seating chart is such a good example of that, where it's like, it's such a puzzle that you're like, it's never going to be perfect.
I've fully solved it, and I do want input, but I'm also like, yeah, but you give me a better solution. Like
certain things,
if you can come up with a better solution, I'm all ears. But just the criticisms of things that I'm doing, like not just the seating chart, just in general, like the criticisms of things, I'm like, come up with a better solution and we'll do it. No, totally. But just because you don't want like something or don't, then that's not a reason that we're not doing it.
That's not a good excuse.
That's my
maybe both of our trusty depressies kind of segue nicely into our topic of being disappointed by things or situations or people, or in general disappointment when you're really hoping that something happens and it ultimately doesn't. I mean, I guess your bridal shower one doesn't really fit this, but I think it's like certain things where
what happens when you're not disappointed?
But I just feel like, it's a tough topic. And I think we're both thinking about it, me with Match being like, you know, I'm gearing myself up to be like, there will probably be some level of disappointment on Friday. Just being realistic about it, even though I'm like, I can't shake the hope that, like, you know, I get my number one. I think it's just not likely.
Yeah.
And then with wedding stuff, I feel like it's just always, and also you're going through Match and just wedding stuff, like there's things where you like hope things go a certain way, or you kind of want things to work out perfectly, but then something has to give. Like, again, like a more benign example, the seating chart, where you're like, okay, like you probably are gonna just have to have a few tables where things are like a little wonky because like it just doesn't all fit together. But there's bigger things like that that can come with a wedding.
Yeah, I am going to ask you a question. How do you feel like you usually deal with disappointment?
You know, it's funny because I feel like I think I, feel the feeling when it actually happens for me, like when the thing occurs, and I'm trying to remind myself of this now. Like, I've had times in my life where I've really, really wanted something. It does not work out. And I kind of grieve that in the moment. Like, if it's like, okay, you didn't get the thing, like, I mean, even going back, like I used to do theater as a kid, like tons of parts I really wanted that I didn't get, right? Like, or like many other things, like, applying to college, grad school, all these other things where it's like you really hope for something and it doesn't work out. I feel like generally, I'll be sad, I'll be upset, probably not more so than like enough that kind of makes sense. That's like normative for the situation. Obviously that sucks, but like I am always someone who's gotten through it. And also I've been very lucky in my life. So like I also think about like things like that didn't work out for me, that actually like I have some pretty good examples in my life where something didn't work out and something I couldn't have even foreseen instead worked out that was so much better. And I'm like so grateful for, so while you can't guarantee that, I am trying to think about that right now with Match, of being like, okay, I have my number one that I think in my head is the super perfect option. But even if I match way down my list, maybe I'll look back and say, I'm so glad that worked out because I met this person, I learned this thing, this ended up working better for my life in a certain way. I think it's more the anticipation of disappointment that's actually really hard for me. And so that's kind of maybe why I just want to know so that I can get to the part of like coping with it if I need to cope with it. I guess this is my long-winded answer. Of like, usually the before part is actually a lot harder for me. And I find I maybe struggle more than other people to some extent. Not like, I think everyone's a little frazzled with Match, but like, I think I'm someone who's just like, I need to know. And like, some people are like, okay, like you'll find out, like, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. I just can't handle it. But once it happens, I can cope,
I've always been the person who like everyone else wants to get their grade back. And I don't want the professor, back in high school, the teacher to release the grades because I'm so scared of what it's going to be that I don't want to know. Like, it could be good, but I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I always really, like, baffled. Even in medical school, a lot of people are, like, just cannot wait to know. Like, oh my gosh, what did I get on this exam? And I'm like, cannot relate any less. Like, I want that gone from my brain. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I just want to keep living my life. So yeah, I'm definitely like very avoidant in that sense where I'm like, I don't want to think about it. I try to put it out of my mind, distract myself. I would say in general, how I deal with disappointment. Okay, it's like, I feel like my instinct is to go in and to like not talk to anyone. But then the way I cope is like, and I find like that works to help me feel better, is to like tell everyone. It like kind of helps to like break down that shame for me. And like, it's now become this like urge to be like, hey, like I need to call everyone in my life, update them about this thing that happened, share, get their perspective, and like just like put it out in the open. I've just like genuinely, that has become a coping mechanism for me. I feel like just to like be super open, like it helps me to not, be in my shell and like just crawl into society and like feel this guilt and like shame.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of lends into like part of what I was thinking about was like when a person disappoints you, especially someone that's close to you. The way that I cope with disappointment is like talking to people. And so when I can't talk to that person because that's the person I'm in conflict with, it's like so hard for me to process and like move through because I'm having to like do the work by myself. Like, and really move through it by myself without like the aid of someone else. And even like, I think it's harder other people can be there for you when someone disappoints you, but like, let's say like I don't do well on an exam, like there's no one else has a relationship to that exam, there's no history with that exam. It's like a one-time thing. Like they can lift my spirits, like we can move forward. But like if a person disappoints you, like other people have relationships with that person, there's like a history I have with that person. So like there's nothing really like I can talk about it, they can validate me, but like the way that I feel like I would totally like be able to process it is if I could like say everything I need to that person. And oftentimes that's not like actually conducive to anything. Like that's not gonna,
it's not gonna be effective,
be beneficial.
Yeah, that's interesting. And also like there's the gossip element of it where you may not want to like spread around all your drama with someone, you know. Yeah, that's like an interesting one.
The hardest things that I've had to process is either if it's like a personal thing for someone, so I'm not able to share it,
right,
or you know, just like someone in my life disappointing me, that because I value our relationship more than whatever happened, I need to move forward and move on, and it's not going to be healthy to like continue to hash it out with that person, but like that's my instinct, that's what I want to do to like cope. So I'm kind of again it's really like when it's something happens with a person.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, I'm trying to think what I do when I'm disappointed with someone, and like it's probably not that healthy. Like I feel like as I'm thinking about it, like I kind of just I might vent to like, if it's, as long as it's not you or Jacob, like I might vent to one of you because you're just very close to me. Honestly, I find myself kind of ruminating on it a lot. If it's just like something I can't share as much, it's like kind of maybe, if it falls into that category of like, it's more with another person, or I don't want to like taint someone's view because all I'm doing is like venting about this thing, then I'm just ruminating about it by myself, and that doesn't usually work so well. So I don't know. Yeah,
I actually haven't found myself, I'm like thinking of one recent disappointment, and I haven't found myself like ruminating about it, but more just like wanting to bring it up to like everyone.
Yeah.
And having to then make the active choice that like I need to move forward in this, because the thing that I'm like of course craving is like talking to this person about it, and like I can't. Like it's just you'll always be the person where it's like, I just need to call them one more time, and I'm like, don't do that. You just got in like such a fight. Like it's not going to be effective if you talk to them one more time I am such like an open person, like especially with the people that I'm like very close with. Like I tell the truth, I tell what I think, even if like I know I have a bad opinion. I'm like, don't judge me, but I don't even say don't judge me. Actually, I literally don't say that. I'm like, this is what I think. Like, and I stand behind it. So like then if I'm in conflict, the idea of like needing to hold that in and like just move forward and not like tell that person exactly what I'm thinking in order to like come to some agreement or like whatever is so hard for me. Like
it's all I want to do. I feel like and it's such a good point. I didn't really think about this before this episode for me, but I do feel like disappointment when things happen that are not what I was hoping for. I actually feel like although it hits me, I'm sad, I'm upset, whatever, and then I move through that. Like I genuinely get to a place where I'm like totally fine with it eventually, for the most part. I think, you know, when it's with a person though is when I really struggle to move through things. And I think as much as I try not to hold grudges, I think because it's not something I feel like maybe I can fully process in the moment, it does like mark me in a way where I'm like, noted. Like, and I don't want to be that way. I don't want to be that way. And I try to operate not that way with people, but it being honest, like I think it emotionally scars me, and it's probably more on me because I'm not processing the thing, and you know, it might have just been something that really hit a nerve for me personally. But like those are the times where I feel like then I'm just like, it's just never the same. I don't know. Yeah.
I know. It's really hard for me to move through this. And I think the other thing that's true for both of us is that we in our life have like very stable relationships. I will say, like, very infrequently do we like lose a friend, like or like break off a friendship. Like very much like the people that are my bridesmaids, like people that I'm close with, like my cousins, my friends, like they are like rocks in my life. Like once they join my life, like I continue to have a relationship with. I just feel very full and fortunate that like I have such stable relationships. So I don't like put a lot of thought into like that they're ever not going to be there, or like it's ever going to be anything but like smooth sailing, because
Yeah.
we are fortunate that like the people that we choose to have in our life are just like really there and like we don't have a lot of drama with. And I would say like one of the hardest things I did have to go through is like a friendship breakup. And that was someone I was really, really close with in college that I feel like we both disappointed each other. And like it ultimately just led to us like not being friends anymore. And that's like heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess this comes into like this idea then that like, okay, our relationships are so stable that it just feels like the rug is being like pulled out from under you when like something doesn't seem right.
When there's a disappointment.
When there is a disappointment. And again, it's not just like, I was just going to say, it's not just like a friend canceling dinner, like a major disappointment, like someone's really, you know,
not there
does
for
something
you in a
that
time
is
of
not
need or like
in good character, you know.
No, 100%. And in a way too, it's like it's so fortunate that we've had such stable relationships, but it means that we haven't really been able to like build the skills of what to do when things are not as stable, right? And like I think obviously I wouldn't have wished that experience on us more so with friends and stuff. But I think it might lead to that experience of the rug being pulled on, feeling like it's being pulled out from under you when you're like, I don't even know how to deal with this because this doesn't really happen in my life. And yeah, I feel like I've had, for the most part, I'm like really similar. I just really haven't had friendship. Like my true friends, like I've just really always been friends with. And we've had disagreements, of course, but like we work things out. And I think I choose people, I'm like extremely loyal when it comes to friendship, I think.
Yes, me too.
And like I tend to choose people who have the same traits. And obviously I slip up, they slip up sometimes. And so like when that happens, it's like, I'm sure in both directions sometimes, like, whoa, this is so out of character for this person. And it happened. And it's, I don't know. I know, and I can look back on like a couple of, and I'm sure there may be even more, I don't know, but like just thinking on my own side, like times where I know I've like disappointed friends or people in my life in a big way. And I can understand it's like, we really haven't had this happen in our friendship. And then I did something that isn't like me or isn't how I generally am. And I look back and I regret those things. Right. But like, again, they're like, not to be like on my high horse of like, they're few and far between, but like generally just in my relationships, like things are very stable. So when like one or the other person does something that disappoints the other, it's like, it's big news, you know?
Yes. Yeah. I feel like something that's been helpful is like just knowing that like that person, like I value that person's relationship with me more than the thing that they did, right? Like, okay, if they like actively, like, let's say like they did something horrible. Like,
of course, yeah, there's a line.
Then there's a line. But, like, there's gradations. And just also like really trying to actively be like, okay, if I'm moving forward with my friendship with this person, knowing that this is just something I'm going to have to accept. Like, that is like, and consciously doing that because it's hard to say, like, I don't know if I hold a grudge per se, but then like next time something happens, I'm like, well, look at this again. So it's like, again, I'm not like actively thinking about it every day, but then it like feels like anytime something does go wrong, then I like go back to that thing in my head. So it is hard for me to like let go. Maybe that is a grudge. But I feel like, something that's been helpful is also just like naming that this person has a flaw. Like, naming
we all
that
do.
This is a flaw.
Again,
I know my biggest flaw is I'm like really bad at texting people back. Like, it is a big flaw of mine, genuinely. Like,
don't look at Allie's unread.
Don't look at my unread
text. It's like really stressful if you're a type A person.
It stresses me out, and then I get avoidant about it, blah, 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 and then I feel like it's too late to text back, and then I get blah, 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 blah. So there's all of that. And I feel like genuinely my friends have had to actively accept that about me and just be like, that's a flaw Allie has. And some people have flaws, and I think that's part of the beauty of friendship is that like, as opposed to a monogamous relationship with your partner, right, who you kind of, quote, want to be everything, which, of course, no one's ever going to actually fulfill that. Like, your friends are going to have different traits and different things that you can go to and rely on for different, things that you love about them. I have, like, certain friends that I know I can like call no matter what, and they'll always pick up. I have certain friends that I know like will drop everything to be there for me. I know friends that will like, you know how to cheer me up in this specific situation or this one, or like just, you can have friends with like different strengths, and like sometimes they'll disappoint you, and you just kind of categorize it as like, okay, this person's strength is not, I don't know, recognizing when I'm going through a hard time, let's say. That's genuinely like
not a recent example, but like
not a recent example. Not recognizing when I'm going through a hard time, and like really being blatantly not like realizing that, or like giving me grace. That could be a flaw. But like all of the other things that they add to my life is like so much bigger. Like thankfully I have other friends that would fill that gap. So like kind of looking at your friends is like, you know, different pieces of the puzzle, and not like this person has to fulfill everything and do everything right in order to be in my life.
Yeah. I think that actually I have a couple of thoughts. One thing that I try to think about, not always immediately successfully, but over time I try to think about, is sort of like, you know, I can let myself feel the emotion, cope, whatever. But ultimately, what do I want? What is the end goal that I want out of this? Is it that I really need this specific person to change in this way? And sometimes that might be the answer, to be like, no, like whatever it is, like maybe it's that you live near each other, you work with each other, whatever the situation. And it would mean so much, and like genuinely be very hard for me to get a certain need fulfilled another way. So I'm going to ask. And of course you can make requests. Like it's hard to expect people to like make a 180 change, but if there's little things, of course, friends can do here or there. Friends might want to support you and learn that something is actually really important to you. Maybe they would be like, you could say like, you know, doing X thing is actually like so important. That would be more important than these other things that I do appreciate. But like, you could drop those other things if you need, right? So that could be one option. Another option, and I know this like could look like holding a grudge in some cases, but I do think there's a way where it's genuinely not like that, where you're like, okay, like I really thought that this friend was going to be fulfilling this need for me, and maybe they've had a few chances or whatever. Like I realized that like I don't think that that's really realistic. I think I need to accept that that's not the case. And so maybe I need to expand my friend circle a little bit and not drop this friend per se, like, you know, maybe in extreme cases, but not in most cases. That would not be necessary, I don't think. And again, I don't mean this as like holding a grudge, but just to be realistic of like this friend, again, maybe using the example of like in a time of need, like this friend really just hasn't been there for me in these past few times of need. And so maybe I really need to like turn to my friend circle, or maybe expand my friend circle in a certain way to make sure that I have that in my life, because I keep wanting that from this person. I'm not going to get that from this person, you know? And so that might mean that I'm sharing a little bit less of these difficult things with this person. And that's tough, but it's like, you might be able to rely on them for other things still. So kind of similar to what you were saying, but just thinking about like, what is that end goal that you want?
Yes.
Or is the end goal that like true, I mean, maybe in some cases it's that if they truly can't do that thing, you really can't be friends with them. Maybe in some extreme cases, but I just don't think, I think there's a lot of ways to think about it.
Yeah. I definitely think there's like some hard lines in the sand, right? Like if someone's being like abusive to you,
of course, you
know, like really, really not treating you right, or like always like when you really need them and count on them, let's say like they're like, I'm going to bring this is literally not a real example. I'm going to be the one to like bring the birthday cake to your birthday party, and then like never doesn't bring the cake, like never reliable, never blah blah blah. Like that may not be someone that you're like going to continue to put energy into. But I think, you know, like there's the other side of it, genuinely just being like, I think just what you're saying, what is the end goal? Like how do we get to a place where we're like, I can continue benefiting from this friendship, just like maybe not in the way, or like realizing that like this disappointment is just a small piece of the puzzle of who this person is because of everything else they are to me, and giving them grace.
Totally. Right. And I think, so I think like honestly for myself, I probably do like, there's things that I painted that whole nice picture. I do think that there's like times where things mark me in a way that maybe looks more like a grudge. Like I do think generally I don't hold grudges, and I give people a lot of chances, but I think there's certain things that mark me that like I maybe wish didn't, and just like really do. Maybe it's like something hit a nerve, or like probably in some cases I think just like, yeah, really hit something that like they didn't even realize was like so meaningful to me. But it just like, and this is a flaw of myself, like might hit me in such a way that I just am like it's not going to work for me. And we all have those things. And honestly, I'm lucky that that's not really, I don't think that's really the case with like my close friends. It's more so people on like my outer circle. Another thing I think that we're just both so lucky for is like you were saying that we generally have such stable relationships. Like I think even for both of us, like having each other and our partners, like it's like even if I just had you two, I'd be like having so many of my needs fulfilled that everything else is just such a lucky extra. And I'm lucky to have many more friends than that. But like if someone does disappoint me, it's like, it's okay. I don't have to rely on that person for that.
That is such a good point, because I do feel like while I was saying like, okay, so like, so sorry if you can't relate to this, but I think like sisterhood, one of the benefits is like when I say like, oh, there's that piece of the pie, like maybe not everyone can fulfill every piece. Like my sister fulfills every piece, you know?
Right. No,
and
totally.
Lucas fulfills every piece. And so like having that so that everything else can be extra, I think in two senses. One sense, I think it sets people up for a little bit of failure because they have a lot to live up to. I'm like, well, Missy would do that for me. I know for a fact Missy would like blah, 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 blah.
Totally.
And then it's like, if I tell you the story and you're like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. I'm like, right?
Yeah.
Not to say we don't disappoint each other, but like fulfillment wise, like,
yeah,
we are just like Venn diagram is a circle.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I think it does allow me to like move forward in relationships that aren't like gonna complete, right? Like, because I don't view that person as like
needing to check every box.
They don't need to check every box. Like, okay, this person, you know, I really don't know, flakes a lot, or like, whatever. Like, that's okay. No, well, true. I have someone that's gonna be there for me always, so like it's gonna be okay.
Right.
So I don't know if that's advice at all. I'm just like realizing that like
I'm just naming that because I think that this can be true for people even if they don't have that person or people that are like truly really fitting everything for them. I think as long as you're diversified enough in your friendships, and easier said than done, but like if you're diversified enough in your friendships, then you can be a little more, again, not to say that you should just like let people treat you however, but like, you know, if people aren't checking literally every box, it's going to be okay because you can then just kind of adjust and realize, okay, that's not the person who's going to, you know, answer my text on a whim, but that is the person who's going to get me something nice every year for my birthday or whatever else like means something to you. Or who will be there at the drop of a hat if I call in a time of need, whatever it is. You can piece together those people, and if you have enough of that, you always can be like, you know what, it's okay that this person didn't do this one thing because I have these other people.
Truly, I think just like on the other side of like what we're talking about, I have found like the deepest kind of love is when you like truly accept their faults and like accept them for like everything that they are. And like that's where I feel like you and I are, is like even though we don't like we disappoint each other, like we accept like the things that we have like faults on, and like we'll bicker, but like it's accepted. Like we don't have to like move forward with that. But I feel like sometimes there'll be people in my life that I almost view on like a pedestal for whatever reason. Like, oh, they're fulfilling this need for me, like, or I view them as like, oh my gosh, like I've been looking for this thing in my life, or just like, for whatever reason, just really wanting a relationship with that person, wanting to be friends with that person, and then they do a small thing and it is like so much more disappointing than if I just went into it realizing like, well, everyone has faults, like of course, like, you know, like there's like that lack of acceptance. And I think like this could even just like extend to like, okay, let's say you had like a research mentor, right? Like you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. They're so great.
Anyone. Blah, blah, blah,
it's
blah.
So
true. Yeah.
And then they do something, or maybe they talk to you in a certain way that you didn't like, whatever. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Like I thought they were so great at this, blah, 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 blah. It feels like
I hoped and prayed to get into this school or whatever, and like now I'm here. And actually, this is a really good, I'm going to bring it all the way back to Match, because if I Even if I do get my top choice, which again, I'm trying not to jinx my little self, and
Yes.
it's super unlikely, but I'm trying to remind myself, actually a con of getting the thing that you idolize, and I'm like sitting here being like, there's no flaws about it.
I
like
know.
truly 100% no, because this is true of everything else in my life, that if I've gotten the thing that I've hoped and prayed for the most, it is inevitably more nuanced and flawed than I ever thought. And on the
Yes.
other hand, and that can be more disappointing than, on the other hand, if you're like, okay, like I'm a little disappointed, or I'm who's to say, you go in and you might discover things, which has happened to me too. On the other hand, where I've gotten like my, whatever, I get cast in the chorus, or I get the worst option of the things I wanted, whatever, the teacher I didn't want to have, whatever it was. And I ended up loving it so much more than I would have thought. So I think, but yeah, to your point, like sometimes when the thing you idolize like your top choice, I think that's so true. That's a really good point. I hadn't thought about that. And as I'm thinking about the things that have disappointed me the most in my life and have actually given me most grief, I think it really is those things that I somehow had put on this pedestal of like, this is the perfect this, or this is the perfect person, or this, when they don't do something perfect, or that thing is not perfect, it's like really marks me in a way. Yeah. Anyway. Well, I'll see you on the other side.
I know.
Because this is going to be a time capsule. By the time this comes out, it'll be like after the match, like a few days later. So
gotta chill.
I don't even know if I'll be able to listen back to this. I feel like I'll be like,
I'll edit it, post it.
Yeah, I don't want to listen to this ever again. Bye, everyone.
But thanks for listening.
Thanks
Bye,
for
guys.
listening.